They were young, fearless, and prepared for the worst, but what they faced, no one could have predicted. In January 1959, 9 hikers led by Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student, set off on a ski trek through the icy Ural Mountains in Soviet Russia. They were aiming for Mount Otorten, a name that ominously translates from the Mansi language as, "Don't go there." They didn't listen. All 9 would vanish into the frozen night. When the group missed their return date, search teams were sent. On February 26th, their tent was found high on a remote slope, partially buried in snow, slashed open from the inside. All their boots, coats, and supplies remained neatly inside. Yet outside, barefoot footprints trailed into the forest, in temperatures as low as 30 degrees. They had fled into the dark with nothing. 2 bodies were found first, under a tree near the remnants of a small fire. They were nearly naked, hands black with burns, limbs twisted in strange positions. Then came 3 more, lying between the tree and the tent, face down, frozen stiff, as if trying to crawl back to safety. But the final 4 were discovered 2 months later, buried deep beneath snow in a ravine. Their injuries were gruesome. One had a fractured skull, another had crushed ribs. One woman, Lyudmila, was missing her eyes and her tongue. Her mouth was filled with blood. Yet strangely, there were no external wounds. These were internal injuries, like those seen in car crashes or bomb blasts. How does that happen? And why did they flee a perfectly intact tent into a silent, snow-covered death trap? The Soviet authorities gave a cold, clinical answer, a compelling natural force. No explanation, no closure. The case was sealed. The mountain soon after was renamed Dyatlov Pass. But rumors began to spread like wildfire. Was it an avalanche? Unlikely, said early experts. There was no obvious slope and no signs of a snowslide. Was it a secret weapon test? Some of the hikers' clothing had radiation. Others reported strange orange lights in the sky. Had they stumbled into something they shouldn't have seen? Or was it something far older? The local Mansi people considered the area cursed, forbidden. They spoke of spirits in the wind and shadows that moved when no one watched. And then, the final photo on one of the hikers' cameras emerged. Blurry, grainy. It shows a vague, dark figure in the trees. People whispered of a yeti, or worse. For decades, the mystery festered, every theory more bizarre than the last. Until 2021. That year, a team of Swiss and Russian researchers finally cracked part of the mystery. Using advanced snow modeling and terrain data, they discovered something chilling. The group had pitched their tent on a hidden layer of weak snow. When heavy winds blew more snow onto it, pressure built up quietly. Hours passed. Then, a slab avalanche. Not massive, but silent, sudden, and deadly. The snow slab may have slammed into the hikers while they slept, crushing ribs, cracking skulls, burying the tent. Disoriented and injured, they slashed their way out and fled into the dark, half-dressed, half-frozen, and in complete panic. They tried to light a fire. Some tried to return, but it was too late. The injuries? Explained by blunt force from compacted snow. The missing eyes and tongue? Likely the work of scavengers, animals that found them before rescuers did. The radiation? Traced to the clothes of 2 men who had worked at nuclear facilities. Even the mysterious orange lights in the sky? Possibly missile tests from a nearby base, common in Soviet territories back then. It all makes sense now, doesn't it? And yet, something still feels off. Why were none of the avalanche markers visible at the site? Why did seasoned hikers pitch their tent in such a dangerous spot? Why does the final photo look like a figure standing watch in the woods? Maybe it was just nature, cruel and unforgiving. Maybe the mountain itself, with its cursed name and bitter winds, simply decided they weren't meant to survive. Or maybe, just maybe, some mysteries don't want to be solved. What happened that night in Dyatlov Pass? A tragic accident? A government cover-up? A brush with the unknown? One thing is certain. 9 hikers went in, and what came out was a legend wrapped in fear. And even now, more than 60 years later, the snow still whispers. So, was it just snow and science? Or did something else stalk them in the night? The Dyatlov Pass incident may finally have answers, but the fear it leaves behind still lingers. Because in the end, it's not just how they died, it's why they ran. And if whatever they saw in that frozen dark is still out there, watching, waiting, for the next ones to climb the mountain and never return.